Moving on to the communication part, which is more in your case, it's cultural communication, and coaching New Zealand Breakers and very successfully so, then also coaching the Boomers and successfully so, and in Brisbane and now in Japan. There's 3 different countries that you've been in, and to me, the commonality I see between those 3 countries is there's very peaceful countries in a sense where this is just it's a very peaceful environment is probably like just too simply said. But can you differentiate between the 3 cultures of how to coach, or how you, besides being yourself and being you, but was there certain nuances to each culture that you can remember and that you had to kind of adjust to while you were there?
For sure, every country is different, and people are different, and cultures are different, and it's important, I think, that you respect those. And again, actually, one of the learnings I took from just observing the Europeans was when I was with the Boomers, and going around and getting my butt kicked by Lithuania, and going and watching Eurobaskets. The national teams often seem to have like just an older guy hanging around who'd just be at the end of the bench. And then after the game, you sort of, be in the hallways and you see him just talking with the coaching staff. And after a while, I started to figure out that often there was a former coach that was someone who's been through it before. And so I actually engaged a guy by the name of Adrian Hurley, who'd been a successful national team coach with Australia. 1996 and 2000, I led the Australian team to 4th place finishes. And so I took on this idea, and I engaged with Adrian. We've kept a relationship ever since. And when I took on the job in Japan, he and I spoke about, I'm going to go and get new experiences and try to learn from them, and have get a different perspective on basketball and life. And he said to me, I'm very happy to hear that I think it's important that you don't go and try to put your style onto them, take their style and just try to add your little pieces to it, which I thought was again very good advice. So that was certainly part of my growth and learning in New Zealand. I think going down, finding this whole cultural space and team values, and allowing the players to have control and input onto who we are as a team, and shape us, shape our identity, I guess. That for me enabled me to get a better understanding of the New Zealanders and how they think and what makes them special. And there is a real special cultural connection within New Zealand. There's an identity there that is hard to understand unless you're from New Zealand. And they play far above their individual talent level when they play as a group and for each other. Like, there's a special chemistry that comes out if you allow it to. And there's and you start to learn about some of those little cultural things, and a little couple of cultural words that just mean something to New Zealanders, and then the importance of the haka and how you can use that emotionally. And so that was a real learning experience for me, when I guess I started to give of myself into their culture, rather than trying to force the Australian way onto them. It's like, no, this is, this works for them. This is good. We've got a team made up mostly of New Zealanders, so let's, and that actually differentiates us from the Australians. We're playing in an Australian league full of Australians, and now we can actually get a little point of difference here.
Be different, yeah.
So that was good early learning for me. Obviously, the Australian thing was, I've born and grown up in Australia, and I spent my time in the Australian basketball system, so I guess I'm pretty ingrained in that culture anyway. But just with the Boomers, I guess what started to really come to light again, just through the ability to, through having the conversation and providing that environment, we're having conversations about what it means to each of us to be part of the Boomers. It just started to come out like what it meant for everybody in that room. And it's like, because they're also passionate about Australian basketball, and we hadn't achieved anything. We hadn't won a medal, you know, and until we got to that medal point, it was always going to be, you know, we haven't quite truly represented what we're doing in Australian basketball on the world stage. We haven't really shown that to the Australian people. And there was a real drive and desire to do that. And actually something I missed before, when we're talking about the, you know, the team, and after one of our, I think after we qualified for the 2016 Olympics, and we came back, and the next day, again, instead of everybody just disappearing after the final game, we said, no, we need one more day to come back and debrief and all that. And the culture guy, Trent, came in, and we, you know, still did a few things together over an hour or so, round table stuff. And we had a key moment there where, again, we spoke about, you know, winning the medal. And actually, I remember Paddy Mills stepping up, and, you know, when we give him feedback to each other, and he said, no, fellas, I want to stop talking about winning the medal. I want to talk about winning the gold medal. Like, that's what we're going there for. We're going to win the gold medal. And it was a real, no, for a team that had never won the medal, it was a sort of I think there was a moment there of everybody, oh, is that realistic? But then it was sort of, it flipped over to, hell yeah, like, let's go do that. And what that did was it drove like behaviors for the next 12 months. And, you know, there's certainly stories around the guys in the NBA during their All-Star break, rather than taking holidays, like the Australian guys all got together during the All-Star break, and they spent their holiday together. Like, they just, you know, again, because we want to win a gold medal, we need to go do this, you know. And so it just really drove behaviors. And so, yeah, just around the national team, I could feel that passion. I guess for me, it was easy to connect with that, because that's kind of, you know, that's in my blood anyway. And now in Japan, again, it's been another complete learning experience, and it's been a great experience. Again, just different culturally, and interesting there, the mix of how the imports work with the Japanese and the language barrier. And one of the reasons I wanted to take on the role in Japan is because I feel part of my success as a coach is the ability to communicate and get people to trust me and build those relationships that I talk to. I think if anything comes out of this podcast, it should be that I'm a relationships-based coach. You know, I want to get the trust of the players, and I want them to feel that I truly want what's best for them. And that's how, you know, I sort of connect with them and try to get the best out of them. And I was like, can that work in a foreign language? You know, because so much of communication is tone, expression, your facial expression, understanding when, you know, when I'm being a little bit sarcastic, or when I'm, you know, a smart remark to somebody, or witty remark to somebody, or, you know, something that is, you know, uplifting in a certain way, and, or you've got a relationship and there's a word or a phrase that means something to one player, and you can say that on the fly, and he's like, yeah, okay, coach, you know, I got you, you know, sort of thing. And those bits, and can that work in a foreign culture and foreign language? And it's been an interesting journey, and I've really enjoyed my time. I think it's taken some time, and as with everything, it's giving and taking and molding and all those sorts of things. And by the end of the year, I feel like we were slowly starting to get there, and I look forward to this next season, because we're returning most of the guys to see how that continues to grow.